Hello everyone, it's Brian. I realize it's time to do another random records video. The last one I did was number 8, but it was over a month ago, and I thought I would do one monthly, but that didn't happen. So just to recap, I'm using the Discogs app on my phone. You can shake it and it gives you a random item, which is the only good use for the Discogs app, as I might have said before. So I'm going to choose 5. I'll take a screenshot of the 5. I usually get a lot of CDs, but this time I didn't.
Because I was focusing on records.
All right, I got 5. Hopefully they're in my gallery. Yes, there we go. Okay, I'm going to grab those. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I grabbed the 5 records and took them out of their sleeves, or the plastic sleeve, just to make things a bit quicker, and I'll just get right into it. So the first thing that I chose was, or that Discogs chose, is Bruce Springsteen's Greatest Hits. This came out in CD 1995, which I have, and then later 2017 vinyl. Now there was black vinyl versions and red vinyl versions. This happens to be the limited edition red vinyl version. This is number 5796, but I don't know how many copies were made of this record in red vinyl. It's the inside. And just to prove that it's on red vinyl, because it is, I will show you. There's the inner sleeve on one side. Some cool photos in here. And let me just see if I can remember. I think at the time, if I'm not remembering this, I think I'm remembering this correctly, there was some criticism of the track listing because there's nothing here from the first 2 records. It starts with Born to Run on Thunder Road and then goes into the Darkness period, followed by only one track from The River. Then we got Atlantic City. Then we have Dancing in the Dark, Born in USA, My Hometown, Glory Days. And then Brilliant Disguise, Human Touch, Better Days. So that's a really weird... If I were to pick Bruce Springsteen Greatest Hits and have room for 20 tracks or so, I don't think I would choose all of those. And then we have some non-album tracks like Streets of Philadelphia from the soundtrack. And then the last 4 tracks here, Secret Garden, Murder Incorporated, Blood Brothers, This Hard Land, hadn't appeared on an album before. So I guess it was a way to catch up and put those out. But I kind of agree that the track listing is a bit strange. I wouldn't have chosen those. And on the other hand, I don't really listen to this because I'm more of a Springsteen album guy. If I'm going to listen to Springsteen, I'll choose an album because that's the way I just listen to him, and it seems weird to choose a greatest hits package. Second record that Discogs chose for me is a Canadian singer called Jane Siberry. This record is called No Borders Here. Love the album cover. There's the back. It's a gold stamp promo. She's a Canadian singer, songwriter, poet, I guess you might say composer, in a really avant-garde style. So I guess this is 84, you might have said alternative, the way the alternative was used in the 80s. Kind of eclectic, sort of in the vein of maybe Laurie Anderson. In fact, speaking of Laurie Anderson, there's a line in a Laurie Anderson track on Home of the Brave where she sings, "I walked around the corner in Soho today, and someone looked right at me and said, 'Oh no, another Laurie Anderson clone.' And I said, 'Look at me.'" And I think maybe she was talking about Jane Siberry. I don't know. Who knows what she was talking about? But anyway, the big track on here was Mimi on the Beach. And if you're going to listen to a track from this record, choose Mimi on the Beach. It's a really fascinating song. I really like it. It's quirky. I'm not sure quirky is the right word, but very unusual. And other tracks are really good. The Waitress, I Muse Aloud, Map of the World Part 1, Symmetry. A really good collection on Duke Street Records, which was an important Canadian record label. I think it's done, right? I think it's finished. But this is really interesting music. Her first 3, possibly 4 records are worth listening to. They're kind of all very interesting. Number 3, Robert Palmer, Heavy Nova, and of course, Simply Irresistible is on here. You know that song, you know the video, I'm sure. This is 1988. Now, in defense of me owning this record, I have pretty much every Robert Palmer vinyl record up until this one, and The reason I have them is probably twofold. I do kind of like what he's done, and they were cheap. This is a thrift store find. It was $1.99, and it was in pretty much perfect shape. I do think he has a bit of a bad rap. Like this track, Simply Irresistible, and the track from the previous record, Riptide, Addicted to Love, with that probably misogynistic video, didn't really help him any. I mean, it got him a lot of views on videos and probably sold him a lot of records, but I think he's probably better than that. I mean, his first record, I think, is really has a lot of interesting grooves. I think the first record, Sneaking Sally Through the Alley, is actually really good. There's some stuff that isn't quite so good, but I thought Riptide, the one before this, was actually really good. I loved that record when it came out. It was recommended to me by a friend. And this one maybe is a little too much of the same. You know, the heavy sound, Simply Irresistible, is probably the only track you need on this record, but it's actually not bad. Now, I remembered that in the, I think it's the All Music Guide review or comment or biography of Robert Palmer, he calls him a case of style over substance. In fact, that it has more to do about the way he presents himself than the music itself, which I think is a little unfair. I think he's probably a little deeper than that. But yeah, I think it's actually not a bad record, and I don't mind him at all, but not top 10 or anything. That sounded worse than it was. Number 4 is a UK jangle pop band called the Railway Children. You probably say indie rock. It's 87. This is their first record, so kind of in the almost post-Smiths jangle pop period. Probably trying to capitalize on the sound of the Smiths. This is their first record called Reunion Wilderness. I think they might have done 4 records. I have some more back there. And they never really got a lot of attention. They're kind of either loved or forgotten. And what else can I say? On Factory Records. Factory Records 185. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, for me, Sunday morning jangle pop. Like, it wouldn't offend anybody at brunch sitting around eating pancakes. It would just sort of fit in with the mood. So, and then finally, record number 5 is Lou Reed's Animal Serenade, a triple live record. Of course, I have the CD of this. I got the CD when this came out in 2004, and then this issue came out in 2018. Recorded at the Wiltern in Los Angeles in 2003. So a sprawling 3-record pack, just on black vinyl. The sleeves are just white paper sleeves. I think this is actually a really good record. It's kind of like an overview of his career. It starts out with a kind of humorous track called Advice, which isn't really a track at all. It has Small Town, that's a Lou Reed John Cale song from Songs for Drella. It's got a mixture of Lou Reed solo tracks, some Velvet Underground tracks like, what's on here? Venus and Furs, Sunday Morning, All Tomorrow's Party, and Heroin are all on here. And then some early Lou Reed tracks like Candy Says, some later tracks like Set the Twilight Reeling, The Raven from the Uneven Raven record, Dirty Boulevard from his probably one of his best records. And then there's stuff that I don't really love. For example, I think every track on here features backing vocals by Anthony from Anthony and the Johnsons, which people rave about. And he actually takes lead vocals on a track called Revienne Chérie, which is 7 minutes, and I find it torturous because I don't like his voice. That may sound sacrilegious because people talk about him a lot. No, he doesn't sing backing vocals on every track, but a lot of vocals on a lot of tracks. And Candy Says is another one where he takes vocal duties again. Yeah, so some backing vocals, some lead vocals, some mixture of things. So yeah, I think for me that made me love the record a little bit less. But Lou Reed was infatuated with this guy. I guess I can sort of see why, but his voice seems really manufactured to me, and I never loved it. But this is a great record, and I'm happy to have it because I like to have every Lou Reed record in my collection. So maybe next time I will try the chaotic MGK Boston style video or random video, sort of like the Mazzy's Whack-A-Mole, but with a lot more craziness. Well, anyway, thanks for watching.